Killer Mike pissed off a lot of people today based on some comments he made on his podcast. Now, he made these comments really emotional. Like, Killer Mike had tears falling from his eyes speaking about this situation. So it meant a lot to him. And a lot of what he says, he spoke it with conviction. But people are pissed off. They're calling for him to get canceled. The topic that Killer Mike was reacting to emotionally was actually the death of Cyrus Carmack Belton. That's the 14-year-old kid in South Carolina that was shot and killed by an Asian store owner. Now, the verdict came back and the Asian store owner got found not guilty. And a lot of people feel like this is a miscarriage of justice, and Killer Mike is really pissed off about it.
Tensions are high tonight in Columbia, South Carolina, following the shooting death of a 14-year-old boy who was falsely accused of shoplifting. The gas station owner, who has a history of confrontations with customers, has been charged with murder. CBS's Nicole Sganga reports the community is fed up with yet another senseless loss of life.
Mourners protested outside this convenience store in Columbia, South Carolina, to remember 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton, who was shot and killed the night before by the store owner. Hours later, rioters broke in, smashing merchandise and toppling shelves, angry over the loss of another young black life.
It was nothing but looting, just plain, pure looting. And what does that got to do with that 14-year-old?
According to the sheriff, on Sunday night, Belton took water bottles from a cooler before putting them back. The store's owner, 58-year-old Rick Chow, thought he was stealing. After they argued, Belton left and was chased down the street by Chow and his son. Then, Chow observed what looked to be a firearm, pulled out his Glock, and fired one shot, hitting the 14-year-old in his back, piercing his heart. The boy's gun was found at the scene.
We believe he had a gun, but we don't believe he pointed at him, and that's the key to it.
Chow is now being held on one charge of murder. The sheriff says the store owner has a history of incidents involving customers, including a shooting in 2018, which was deemed self-defense and for which Chow was not charged.
The verdict came back. He was ultimately found not guilty. But honestly, nobody understands this decision. I don't understand the verdict. I listened to every single detail revolving this case. I don't understand it at all. How can somebody be a threat to you when they are running full speed in the opposite direction? They're running away from you in the opposite direction with their complete back turned to you. How are they a threat to you? And the only eyewitness to this situation was the man's son. His son was the only eyewitness. Newsflash. And I think Carmelo Anthony also learned the hard way. If you murder somebody and their friends are the only people who are the eyewitnesses, you're going to jail, bruh. Because those eyewitnesses are not coming and telling no impartial, neutral, objective understanding of what they witnessed. No, they are telling whatever they need to tell to make sure you go to jail. In this case, if you murder somebody and the only eyewitness is your son, you're probably coming home. You know why? Because the son is going to say whatever needs to be said to make sure you come home. Because it's his word versus their word. And his word don't exist because he's dead. So the son came and said, oh, he pointed a gun at, very convenient. The kid was found with a gun. Yes, there's no proof he pointed a gun at anybody. His back was turned. They could have let him run. He didn't steal anything. He put the water bottles back. So Killer Mike, among with other people, are very upset about this. And Killer Mike, I think, is expressing the frustration that a lot of people in the Black community feel. Because Killer Mike believes that we have now reached a point in our relationship with the Asian community to where he feels like it's too far gone and there's really no bridging the gap or turning back. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that message. I don't believe that the actions of this one Asian man speaks for an entire community of people. But I do understand that Killer Mike was emotional. I do understand that this really affected Killer Mike, much as it affected a lot of people in our community. So I don't think whatever Killer Mike is saying should be treated as literal. But Killer Mike did say a lot of truths as well. He did say a lot of facts. He did say a lot of things that reflects the current sentiment in our community.
I saw a black child, South Carolina, walked out of a store. When confronted, showed I don't have anything. Chased out of that store and shot in the back and killed by a population of people who since immigrating to this country have quietly built the number one or two, house incomes through having ownership of stores in our community. And nothing has changed. That man was let off the case, and it just gets difficult. It gets difficult because, man, we as a people, if the world is not going to treat us differently, it starts to turn into, well, like your therapist would say, what can you control? Just yourself. Where's my accountability in this? It's not enough to just hate the other person anymore. It's not enough to just hate the Asian store and burn them down and boycott them. And I do think all of that. I'm at a point now where I'm just like, enough. We can't y'all. Y'all don't us, and it's obvious. And we are put in a position by a bigger master to be taught not to each other.
When bad faith actors like Steven Crowder got a hold of this clip, and we're about to hear more of what Killer Mike has to say as he expound on his idea, but bad faith actors like Steven Crowder will hear the entirety of what Killer Mike has to say, and they would use this excuse to then call out Killer Mike for being racist, right, for being anti-Asians, right, for calling for a war. No, I don't think Killer Mike is calling for war.
You realize he doesn't have the ability to read crime statistics. And then the more you listen to him, you realize that he is intensely racist and effectively wrong about everything. His latest tirade is about Asians and how blacks and Asians can't get along, but it's the fault of the Asians. At a certain point, maybe Killer Mike can ask, is it me? Time for Claim Truth.
I think what Killer Mike is saying is a pretty simple concept to understand. He's saying, yeah, there's a pattern here. And the pattern is, it's not even about the action itself, because the action is intolerable. And there's really no excusing some of the things we have witnessed. But as intolerable as the actual shootings and the actions are, what we are facing here is there is an inherent suspicion of black folks that are being passed down in these communities. The kid walks into the shop. He empties out his pockets. He left his backpack at the door. Hey, I don't have nothing. And that was not enough. The inherent suspicion of black folks, the inherent, they are out to get me, from Asians towards black people, Killer Mike is saying that pattern is making it almost impossible for these two communities to work together. In no way is Killer Mike saying that black people should be out here doing harm to Asian people. What Killer Mike is saying is they have an inherent suspicion of black folks. And we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're sick and tired of having to prove that we are not up to no good. We're sick and tired of having to prove that you don't have to be suspicious of us. And because we're sick and tired of having to prove ourselves and bridge the gap, we now have to exercise the same inherent suspicion. Because if we can't bridge the gap, if we can't unite against the common enemy, which is our oppressor, then we now have to look at you as if you are in bed with the oppressor, because this inherent suspicion got you out here hunting us down. Now, again, I think that's a pretty common sense concept.
So you as the model minority always see us as beneath you. And yet you need us because you could never put a store in the master class's neighborhood. And if we won't unite against them,
we won't unite for ourselves.
Yeah, but if we won't unite, the Asians and black against the master class, then we can no longer y'all, because it's just not working. It's not working where you can hunt down a child and they let you get away with it 2 times in my lifetime. We should be finding you.
No. I believe in eye for eye,
what we should be doing. Not saying what we're gonna do.
Meaning the thought comes up.
I am aware of the Arab struggle and the Palestinian struggle because in my lifetime, I have seen men strap bombs to themselves to say, you will pay this attention. And I'm telling this country, you're coming to a point of crisis with a group of people who, right or wrong, we're here. We're part of the fabric. We have nowhere else to go. But if you're training groups of people to see us as beneath, if we're participating in that stereotype due to circumstance, this is what we know.
Hold on. Yo, Killer Mike got to slow down, man. As a black man, saying things like that have ramifications. I don't think y'all understood what he just said. Rewind that back, the last 20 or 30 seconds, rewind that back and listen to that again. He not talking about Asians. Rewind that back and listen to that again. I can even repeat what he just said because I understand the guidelines of this platform. That, I want to say, I disavow that. I don't think people strapping anything to themselves and committing the crimes they committed is okay. I think that's wrong. But I do understand the brother is emotional. The brother is angry. A 14-year-old black boy just lost his life and he didn't have to, right? And I reflect that anger. And I don't think right now an emotional brother saying those things should be treated as literal, all right? I think Killer Mike should be afforded the luxury of having to come back and actually give his sober-minded take. But people like Steven Crowder, bad faith actors, they see an emotional Killer Mike speaking candidly and freely while emotional, tears falling down from his eyes, and they take this opportunity to try to vilify him, right? To try to treat him like he's a monster. Now, Steven Crowder would then go back to like the 90s, when people in LA was boycotting, was burning down Asian businesses in protest of the Asian lady shooting and killing a 15-year-old girl. And they will use this as an example like, y'all want an alpha eye? Y'all don't like Asian people now, but y'all did this to them first. So, but clearly he does it out of context. When you put it into context, again, it's not okay, but it becomes at least more understandable. Black folks didn't just wake up one day and started burning down Asian businesses and started attacking Asian people. No, this was a protest. This was a cause and effect. This was people reacting to a 15-year-old girl losing her life.
They've become more westernized and American. Here's why they isolated themselves and siloed themselves. When you're living in South Central, you better be around a bunch of other Koreans because blacks aren't too friendly to you. A lot of hate crimes. Remember that? Here may be why.
Why are we the victims? I mean, my friends are good Christians. I mean, we've been through so much, and to go through this, I mean, everything 22 years down the drain.
Many Koreans who yesterday were the shopkeepers of South Central Los Angeles today have lost the businesses they took years to create.
No one can have their own thing, according to the black leaders in these communities, except for black people. They can have their own thing.
That guy had a point, though. I mean, Five Guys is pretty expensive. I think we should burn it down.
Yeah, there you go.
No, wait.
I get it. I get
allegedly.
it. They don't respect because they don't, well, hey, they're poor at this point, so they're probably living in the areas where a lot of black Americans are. They want nothing to do with you. They wanted nothing to do with you in Los Angeles. Why? Well, check the crime rates. Even though Asians were poor, you didn't see the same violent crime rates. Guarantee you they raised their kids. They said, stay away from these areas. Don't wear red, don't wear blue, just stay neutral. I get it. You don't? It's for the same reason that you claim you fear white people, right? You guys say that even though we know it's not true, but just use that premise for your argument. Claim number 4 from Killer Mike. That blacks should now be finding Asians is that I noticed the pandering from people, because I don't think Killer Mike is a stupid person, but he panders to people as though they are stupid. He assumes that, I guess he's assuming black people don't understand the concept of work. Allow me to explain. When he says hunt, you could go out and you could just hunt a black child. Like, do you know the amount of work that goes into hunting?
If chasing a 14-year-old out the store, running after him and shooting him in the back isn't hunting, then what is hunting? I'm just uncomfortable with how I feel like they're trying to misrepresent Killer Mike's words, because I don't think Killer Mike got a hateful bone in his body. I think he was frustrated. I think he was angry. I think he was emotional. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, man? Do y'all understand what Killer Mike is trying to say? is the backlash warranted? Let me know, okay? If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen, somewhere here, or here, or here, or here, somewhere on my screen to find out why exactly Caleb Hammer, right, the Vile podcast who do financial advice, his latest episode is so vile, it's so racist, it got people like myself sick in the stomach. I'm going to see you guys in this Caleb Hammer video right here somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.